The Ashen curse. It was supposed to be just another harmless thrill. Eli and Jordan, both 17 and hungry for a rush, had heard the rumors about Hollow Creek Church. The old structure, abandoned since the 1800s, was said to be cursed, its final sermon interrupted by a priest who burned alive at the altar, screaming scripture as the flames consumed him. Armed with torches and bravado, they broke in through a shattered stained glass window one stormy night. In the center of the chancel, beneath layers of old dust, they found a rusted trapdoor. "Dare you?" Jordan grinned. Beneath the church lay a crypt, not on any map they had looked at, possibly undocumented, hidden even from history. At the far end, carved into the stone, was a strange altar with ancient markings neither of them recognized. A stone tablet with ancient text carved into it rested in the center. Eli ran his hand over it. The words looked twisted and difficult to read, yet they felt like something more sinister, almost a warning or perhaps an invitation. Against their better judgment, they read a passage aloud. The wind died. The storm outside stopped mid-thunderclap, and from the center of the altar a hand reached out, black, clawed, and burning with a fire that didn't give off light, only darkness. The devil hadn't been banished to hell. He had been sealed, and they had just set him free. The being that emerged was powerful beyond all belief. Within days, the world began to rot. Hospitals overflowed with patients whose skin blistered with heatless burns. Crops turned to cinders overnight. Animals grew feral and chaotic, screaming as if tormented by unseen flames. The air itself began to shimmer with a fever. The burning plague, they called it. But there was no cure, no containment. The devil walked the earth in human form, eyes like molten rock, a smile carved from torment, spreading fire with a touch, sinking venomous promises into the ears of leaders and children alike. And Eli and Jordan, they were spared, but not saved. Marked by the curse, they became his heralds, burning with a slow internal flame, doomed to walk behind him, spreading ash in his name. The last thing Eli remembered before losing himself to the fire was a line from the priest's journal they found later buried beneath the church. The devil cannot be killed, but he can be bound by blood, by fire, and by the innocence of those who set him free. It ended with one chilling warning, scribbled in panic: "If you are reading this, it is already too late." The world was ash now. Cities fell in silence, not to war or screams, but to a heatless fire that turned steel to smoke and bone to black glass. The devil walked in daylight without fear, dressed in human skin stitched from those who dared resist. He had a name once, but now he was only called the Ember King. Eli and Jordan followed, shadows behind the flame, their bodies intact but their minds fractured. They were more than human now, flesh bound to ember, cursed to live with burning lungs and sleepless nights. Wherever they walked, fire spread, grass curled and died, children cried in silence, staring at them like ghosts. But somewhere, deep inside, the last flicker of who they were refused to go out. It started with a dream. Eli saw the priest again, the one who had burned alive on the altar a century ago. But this time, the priest wasn't screaming. He was calling out, "There is still a way. Blood, fire, innocence." Eli woke, coughing black smoke, his hands glowing faintly with a fire that didn't burn his skin. He found Jordan staring at the sky, where clouds bled like wounded animals. "I think we were chosen," Jordan muttered. "Not by him, by something older." The dream came again and again until they understood. The priest hadn't died in vain. He'd sacrificed himself, blood, fire, and innocence, to trap the devil beneath Hollow Creek. His soul, bound within the Codex Daemonium, whispered to those who would listen. Eli and Jordan had released the devil. Now they had to bind him again. The cost would be the same. The Ember King knew. As they neared the place where it had all begun, the world burned brighter behind them. Their own skin cracked with glowing red lines. The devil watched them from afar, amused, not angry. He thought he knew how this ended. Back beneath the church, in the black crypt, the altar still stood. The codex lay open, waiting. Eli took a blade. Jordan went to the inscribed stone. They read the passage again, but backwards. They let their blood fall onto the altar, its embers hissing. And Jordan, tears running down his ash-streaked face, spoke aloud. "I'm sorry." He threw himself onto the altar. Innocence, fire, blood. The world screamed. The Ember King roared in fury as his body shattered into burning cinders. The flames recoiled from the earth like breath sucked back into lungs. And then silence fell. When Eli woke, the world was dim, the sky overcast, not with ash, but with real clouds. Rain began to fall for the first time in months. It was cool and pure, carrying a feeling of hope. He was alone, but in the distance where fire once ruled, green had begun to grow. The Codex Daemonium was gone, but legends don't die. Some say the Ember King still waits, trapped once more, but weakened, and others say Eli walks the world now, carrying the last embers of the curse inside him, guarding the balance between fire and salvation. Because the devil wasn't destroyed, merely sleeping, and one day someone else might read the wrong words again.